A-Man, say man. This is the A-Man Show, back at it again for more content. Back at it again for the second video of this series. We finna do running backs. As y'all know, running backs are the most undervalued position in football, and not many backs are getting the love that they deserve. So in this video, we finna show love for the running backs by ranking the top 10 running backs in the NFL. So let's get it. But first, make sure y'all subscribe to my channel. I post NBA and NFL content. Turn on post notifications so that way y'all don't miss a beat. Anyways, stay tuned and let's get the video started. So starting off with the number 10 spot in my list has to be Ramondre Stevenson. Stevenson came out of nowhere to be the Patriots' leading rusher. The year prior to last year, he was behind Damian Harris as a second stringer. But last year, the guy broke out quietly. Of course, the guy had over 1,000 rushing yards and 5 TDs, and also he averaged 5 yards per carry, and he was ranked 4th in the league in attempts per broken tackles with 9. He's also 9th in the league in yards after contact. And it goes to show you how tough it is to bring him down, especially in the open field. And also, he has been a reliable receiving back with 69 receptions for over 400 receiving yards and a TD. Like I said, Stevenson is one of the more underrated players in the league, all particularly because of how mediocre the Patriots has been for all last year. But he was the one who stepped up to the plate and produced. Therefore, he should get recognition from me by putting him number 10 in my list. Coming in at the number 9 spot in my list has to be Dalvin Cook. As y'all know, Dalvin Cook has been released by the Vikings and he's still on the lookout for another team. But despite that, Cook has been one of the most consistent backs in the game. He rushed for over 1,000 yards for the 4th straight year while averaging 4 yards per game, which is the lowest of his career. Even though he had a down year as far as production goes, he is still a high level back in the league, especially with the explosive plays he had last year. I'm hoping that this dude will get signed by another team because there got to be someone out there who's begging for his services. At the number 8 spot in my list, I gotta go with Tony Pollard. When you actually give Tony Pollard enough touches with the football, the guy is truly a big-time playmaker. Not to mention he's one of the fastest players in the league. His burst of speed down in the open field is what makes him a dangerous back to tackle. And also, he has been a very reliable receiving back as well, catching 39 receptions for over 300 yards and 3 TDs. As far as offense goes, you can make the claim that Tony Pollard is the best player on offense for the Cowboys, with Zeke out for injury during week 8 to 9. Pollard in that stretch had 2 100 rushing games along with 2 TDs. Now Zeke Elliott is gone. Tony Pollard is now the permanent starter for the Cowboys, and who knows, maybe he will have a career season, especially with having more touches than ever before. But as of right now, Pollard deserves the recognition, and he deserves to be placed at the number 8 spot in my list. Coming in at the number 7 spot, I got Austin Eckler. You can make the argument that Eckler may be the best receiving running back in the league. The guy had over 1,000 receptions, which is more than some receivers that are ranked in the top 5 in their position. That's crazy. And also, Eckler had almost 1,000 rushing yards and had 13 touchdowns while averaging 4 yards per carry. The guy is truly one of the most versatile backs in the game. A guy who can pretty much do it all at a high level as well as rush at a high level. He has been Justin Herbert's top options on offense, and he has been one of the biggest reasons why Justin Herbert has broken out even more over the years due to Eckler being an excellent check down back for the Chargers. With those numbers, you may believe that Eckler should be in the top 5 in my list, but there are other running backs that I think are better overall and had a bigger impact on their respective teams. But nonetheless, regardless, Eckler definitely belongs on my list. Coming in at number 6, I have Miles Sanders. Sanders has been one of the most elusive and efficient backs in the league. He helped the Eagles offense have the best rushing attack in the NFL last year With great vision and explosiveness in the open field, that is a dangerous combination to have as a running back. The guy had a big payday with the Carolina Panthers, and it's going to be a true test to see if Miles Sanders is an elite running back in the NFL. He only has 2 more years left of his prime, so might as well string to the fences and go all in. Sanders last year averaged 5 yards per carry, which is top 5 among running backs who rush for over 1,000 yards. While he had a borderline elite numbers as a back, the reason why I have him outside of the top 5 is because he benefited from the best O-line in football last year. That's why I said it's going to be a true test with a worse O-line. But aside from that, Miles Sanders is for sure a prolific back in this league. So entering in the top 5 in my list, who do I have? I have Saquon Barkley. Barkley was in the contention of being the recipient of the Comeback Player of the Year award after 2 seasons riddled with injuries. Barkley last season went back to his old rookie self by rushing for over 1,300 yards, 10 TDs while averaging 4 yards per carry. The guy looked like a bigger Barry Sanders, a super elusive and shifty back who also has the strength to break multiple tackles at once. I remember I made a video on Barkley last year saying how the Giants need to trade him to another team to get some draft capital, and seeing how he stayed for last season, I was skeptical whether or not will he be at least a Pro Bowl level running back, and he more than proven that he's still an elite running back in this league. Currently now the Giants put him on a franchise tag so that later on they can sign him for a longer deal. The guy deserves to get the money back. Coming in at the number 4 spot, I have Christian McCaffrey. I knew that McCaffrey, when healthy, is one of the top 20 players in the NFL. The guy exemplifies what it means to be a two-way back, a guy who is both elite at rushing and receiving. In my opinion, I still think that McCaffrey is still the best receiving back in the league because the guy at yards after the catch is better than any other back in the game, and also he has the best hands out of any back in the game as well. Once he arrived at San Francisco, he immediately turned this rushing game from one of the worst in the league to a top 5 rushing attack in the game and helped the 49ers reach a conference championship game for the 2nd consecutive time in 2 years. He also was 2nd in Comeback Player of the Year behind Geno Smith, and it's great to see McCaffrey healthy for a full season, and I can see him put up elite numbers for the 49ers for 2 more seasons at least. Kicking off with the top 3 backs in my list, I gotta go with Josh Jacobs with the number 3 spot in my list. Jacobs had a career season with the Raiders, leading the NFL with the most total rushing yards with over 1,600 yards and rushed for over 12 TDs while averaging 5 yards per carry. He was named first team All-Pro, and the Raiders not picking Jacobs' 5th-year option really became the ultimate motivator for his prolific season last year. This guy was extremely efficient down the field all year. He has greatly improved on his vision whether to slash through the hole, and he had done this with a below average offensive line. That more than proves why this guy deserves to be in the top 3 in my list. The Raiders, after last year, decided to put this man on the franchise tag so that he can have a bigger and longer deal in the future, and obviously the guy deserves the money back. At the number 2 spot in my list, I have Derrick Henry. Henry, when it's all said and done, will retire as one of the most dominant running backs in league history. We've never seen a guy who is built like a tight end, who moves as well as Derrick Henry, as well as impose his will down at the open field, along with having the deadliest stiff arm in history. This is Henry's 3rd season having over 1,000 yards and over 10 touchdowns with at least 4 yards per carry without a sufficient offensive line. The guy is literally the offense for the Titans, while at the same time is the only offensive weapon the Titans do have on offense. But aside from that, the man is virtually unstoppable at the open field, and because of his production, he was 9th in MVP voting, and with those numbers he put up, he should be at least 2nd team All-Pro last year. But ultimately, he wasn't selected because of that guy. Yep, that's right. At the number 1 spot in my list has to be Nick Chubb. Chubb is literally the representation of a perfect traditional running back. He has the foot speed to dust everyone. He has the elite elusiveness and quickness to keep defenders off of him. He is also strong enough to truck anyone he pleases. And after his rookie year, he rushed for over 1,000 yards in 4 consecutive seasons. He also has one of the highest rates of broken tackles this season. Mind you, he had the best statistical season of his career, even with a slightly worse O-line last year than in previous seasons. Chubb not only didn't slow down, but he elevated his play into another level. And he was one of the reasons why the Browns were somewhat competitive last year. He's now going to his age 28 season, and yes, he's getting old in terms of running back standards, but I don't see Chubb slowing down anytime soon, and with the roster he has around him, they're looking to contend in the AFC North Division this coming season. Nick Chubb is the top running back in this list, and I think everyone will respect me for putting Nick Chubb as the #1 player at his position. And that's the video. What do y'all think about this list? Comment below what y'all agree or disagree about my list in the comment section below. And be sure to subscribe for more NBA and NFL content in the future. My goal is to hit 1,000 subs by the end of the year. Turn on post notifications, and that is all. Stay litty. This is the A-Man Show. Sign out.